Well, hello and welcome to Career Cafe, the podcast of Southern Utah University's Career and Professional Development Center, where we look and talk about all things career related, whether it be to students during their academic journey or transitioning through the world of work and after graduation. I am your host today, Karl the Assistant Director of the Career Center, joined by my co-host, Trekker Burt. And today our special guest is Markell Haslem from Safari Hospitality. Markell, welcome.
Welcome, Markell. So glad to have you here.
Yes,
You're just thrilled to be here, aren't you?
Yes.
I can tell.
And of course, on the boards, producer Bobby. Welcome. Hey, here we go. So, tell us all about yourself in 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, 30 minutes. How about that?
Right.
A brief LinkedIn search said you work for Safari
Yeah.
Hospitality. Does it have anything to do with African mammals?
No.
Wow.
Well, tell us. Tell
Are
us
you
what
not
you do.
nice to them?
No.
Oh.
But Safari Hospitality is a hotel property management company. They own about 40 hotels in Utah, Idaho, Wyoming now, Nevada. And I do the finance for them. So basically just budgets, month-end closings, work with
I'm
accounting a lot.
Falling asleep already.
Let's just cut to the end. What's your official job title with Safari?
Finance analyst.
Finance analyst. Very cool. Very cool.
So,
Well,
so growing up, I'm sure that was your dream.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
well,
What? No, I was growing up. I wanted to be a meteorologist.
All right.
I wanted to be a weather girl, but
Like-
I don't do math. So,
you don't do math,
What?
but you're a financial
but
analyst.
I did.
Right.
Finance is all Excel. Meteorology, you actually know how to do math.
That explains my banking account.
All right.
Let's start at that journey. You graduated high school.
Mhm.
You wanted to be a meteorologist.
No, my dad told me in high school there was no chance because I was in
wow.
remedial math in high school. So he
How did he?
was a little
did
more
he do
realistic.
that nicely, or
no.
how did he? How did he
maybe
sit you
he
down?
tried. He tried.
What did he do?
Just my junior year in high school, I was in remedial math, and he's like, you need to do calculus to get a
Wow.
meteorology degree, so we might need a pivot here. And I was very upset.
Right.
But what do you do? So
Yeah, that explains my failed career path in meteorology.
yeah,
No, I was a broadcast major when I came to SU, and I was actually the weatherman.
Oh, really?
And so that explains why that was a short-lived career.
Oh,
I
there you
couldn't do math.
Well,
I guess I
that-
thought if I could say 1 inch of rain, 4 inches of snow, that was math.
with a whitened smile and a
Exactly.
quick glance at the camera.
Right.
Well, that was a cause for a career change. I was a geology major for a hot second, and then math happened. And,
Right.
And math didn't happen. And
Yeah.
so yeah. So graduated was finance. I mean, after meteorology, was finance like you're just the next goal, or what? I mean,
no,
how did you know?
I don't know I don't even remember at this point. No, I just needed to go to college. My dad's a professor in finance. Shocker. Here at SUU. But when I moved to Cedar City when I was a senior in high school. The street I lived on, all of the Burgess siblings lived on the same street, and they hired me to be their nanny.
So the Burgess family.
The Burgess family. Yeah, like the kids. So like Jace, Jim, Jeff, Jamie. They all lived on the same street that we lived on. We moved to.
And I happen to know that the Burgess family owns
Safari
Hospitality.
Hospitality.
All right.
Yes,
For
okay.
context.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
All
some
right.
context for you. Sorry about that.
Clouds are clearing.
I know.
So they hired me to be their nanny when I was a senior in high school, and I sucked at it. I'm not built to be around kids, but Jamie liked me, and so she got me a job at the Hampton Inn in Cedar City. So I worked breakfast.
That's one that they own.
That's one that
Safari
they owned in Cedar.
owns.
This is
Okay.
the small one, right? The smallest one over by the Griffles. But I started as a breakfast attendant. The end of senior year, I worked all through the summer. I moved to front desk once I started my freshman year of college, and I worked there for 4 years. And then an internship opened up my junior year of college at the corporate office in revenue management.
So let's slow down. So you were
Okay.
at the hotel
Yeah.
that they owned here in town.
During college, yeah.
You did breakfast, you did front desk,
hmm
which sounds awful, by the way. And then they offered you, or an internship opened up at the corporate office,
Yeah.
which is also in Cedar City.
In Cedar City,
Okay.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
your
it wasn't-
major at that time.
my major was accounting.
All right.
So I knew I had to take out student loans. Like I knew I was going to have to take out student loans. So I couldn't do anything actually interesting. I needed to do something that would make me money so I
you a
could pay them
job.
off after. So I was an accounting major, and I had to switch, much to my disappointment, because I can't pass math. So that came
Math
back.
came back.
Math came back to haunt me.
Carl.
Yes.
I couldn't pass
Man.
1050, so
We
which
could
is
be
so
twins.
dumb.
That's not dumb. Well, I mean,
No, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have tried harder. My problem was college was for fun. Like, I loved college.
Oh,
I had a good time.
well, let's put a pause on your career path and talk
Okay.
about that.
Let's talk about fun.
Okay.
I don't know anything about fun.
Yeah, we want to hear all the fun things you did in
So
college.
you graduated, you moved to Cedar City.
Yeah.
You went to SUU. Did you go anywhere else, or was it
No,
just
I just
Southern
went
Utah?
to SUU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about college being fun.
It was just-
Pros and cons.
The pros and cons. I don't know. I moved out after I graduated high school. I always lived with friends. I got a job on campus at the accounting office, like the controller's office.
Right on.
I worked there for 2 years, and I loved all my coworkers, and I worked at the hotel too. I liked all my coworkers there, and I just didn't really like doing homework. I'd rather go hang out and and do stuff. So I just didn't try hard enough. But
Do you have any regrets?
yeah, absolutely.
What would you?
I wouldn't be in so much debt. Like,
That's fair.
if I would have tried harder, I probably would have finished in accounting and finance, and that would have worked out the same way anyway. I think it doesn't really matter what my major was, but I'm sure I wouldn't have been a 7-year bachelor's degree. So
A lot of guys that go to school for 7 years, they're called doctors. Sorry. I did the same thing. That's why I can make that
Yeah.
joke. That's totally fair. Like, you look back, you would have saved money now. You're
Mhm.
probably maybe still paying for those student
Mhm.
loans. I think we all have some loans to our name, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned that you would have probably ended up at the same place.
Yeah,
How?
for sure.
What did you end up graduating with, and how would you have ended up in the same place?
I switched to communications, which is ironic because if I would have done that to begin with, I probably could have been a weather girl. I just
Yeah?
wouldn't have had the meteorology. I couldn't do the forecasting anyway, but I switched to communications just so I could get my degree done really quick, and I ended up with minors in accounting and finance.
Really quick, 7 years. Again, the math issue comes in.
Yes.
All right, yeah,
It
okay.
felt like 8.
Yeah, but I was still at the corporate office doing revenue management. They just offered me a full-time spot, so I was there for about 4 years.
So you mentioned the internship.
Yeah.
You got the internship.
I was an intern for about a year, and then they asked me if I wanted to stay, and I said yes. So
Nice. Nice.
I worked as like the revenue management assistant, and then at that point, I really did like hotels. I liked working in hotels. I would even like go back to the Hampton and watch the front desk if like they were having a party or anything. Like, I enjoyed the environment, and so I knew I wanted to stay. And the next step would have been to be a general manager, and because I love working at the corporate office, it's very relaxed, but I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to have a family, and that wasn't going to pay for it. So the next step was to become a general manager, and opening opened up at that same Hampton Inn here in Cedar City in the beginning of 2020. So
Buzzword.
yeah, beginning of 2020. So it was the absolute worst timing of my life. Because let me go back just real quick, because I wanted to
We did this.
Yes. Let me go back real
Wayne's
quick
World.
because this. I think everything works out because I wanted to stay in revenue management. I really liked revenue management, so I was applying for revenue management jobs across the country, and there was a hotel in El Paso, Texas, that I was interviewing for, and I went through about 6 rounds of interviews with them. And then
6?
it was like 6 rounds. It was.
gosh.
I had
But remember, math's not a strong
no, I
Could've
swear it
been
was like
5.
6. It might have been 5, but it was a crazy amount of interviews.
I want to hit that horn button so
know, right?
bad. But they just ghosted me. They never. I sent
So you
emails.
go through 6
I seriously
rounds,
did. It was like
and
5 or
then
6 rounds.
poof.
Yeah, and then
Like
they
a
just
bad date.
Yeah, they just ghosted me, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll just go see if I can be a GM. And so I
It's crazy.
moved into the GM position at the Hampton Inn, end of February. And then 2 weeks in, COVID hit.
Judas.
And there was like, I remember it was like, yeah, mid-March probably when everything shut down. And I remember like just all the calls coming in, canceling reservations, like the hotel, it was just dead. Like nobody was staying at hotels. No one was allowed to travel. So, and I had to furlough all of my staff. I had to cut back hours for everyone. That was, my first taste of being a general manager.
Like 3 weeks.
3 weeks in, it was horrible.
Welcome to management.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I learned very quickly. I didn't like being in management. I didn't like it and that was probably the worst time to be in management. And then right before COVID hit, I was like doing my training to be a GM, and that hotel in El Paso called me back and said, "Do you want that? Are you still interested in that revenue management position?" And I was like, I went to the bathroom and cried because I was like, I want to, but I feel so bad. Like I just accepted this position. I can't leave. So I told them no because of this, but I think it worked out because if I would have moved to I would have dragged my husband to El Paso. They would have laid me off as soon as COVID hit.
Well, and who knows what kind of shenanigans your husband would have gotten up to in El Paso.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm glad that it didn't work out because
I've seen him in a cowboy hat. It wasn't that pretty.
Do you know the guy?
I know a guy who knows the guy.
So yeah, it worked out. I was very upset that I had to say no, but I felt like I should have said no, and I felt bad because I've been with this company at that point. That would have been 2020 for 8 years. So I was like, I don't want to leave like this, and just but I ended up quitting later anyway. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not cut out for management. So that summer I didn't work, and it was horrible. I hated not working, but
so you were training for GM.
Yeah, and I was.
And you were the GM, and then why did you stop working?
I just didn't like management. It's just not fun.
It's
hard.
How long were you in the position?
Like 2 months.
So you
Give or take.
Literally.
Could have been 4 math.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've graduated college.
Yeah.
You've got a degree.
A bachelor's, yeah.
And you're unemployed.
And I'm unemployed.
Sounds about right.
But at the time, like 22, everyone was unemployed.
Yeah,
like I remember talking, like everyone was unemployed. Everyone was getting laid off. So I wasn't like, that gap on my resume didn't look horrible because I think there was a gap on everyone's resumes at that time. But yeah, my dad being the finance professor was like, you should apply to Fidelity Investments. Like they'll hire anyone. Like I think you can pass the Series 7. Like you should do it. And my husband and I wanted to get out of Utah. We always wanted to live in Denver. And so I applied to the Denver office and I got the job. So we moved to Denver in September 2020.
Was your husband, what was his career? What did he do?
He, much to my parents' dismay, he worked at a brewery in Boulder.
You know, I'm beginning to think we need to have her dad on.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine
Don't tempt
both
him.
of them on there?
Don't tempt him.
He would just grab the mic. Shut up. Listen to me. Oh well. So we're okay. So you get to Denver. You're working for Fidelity. Doing what?
So Fidelity. So anything with finance is a very like highly regulated industry. So all like incoming employees basically did customer service. You can't by law.
That sucks.
By law regulation. Be a trader until you're licensed. And the nice thing about Fidelity, if anyone is looking to get into like the financial industry, is Fidelity basically teaches you, spends like, how many months was it? September, October? I gotta make sure the math's right. 6 months.
Oh, I'm going to lend you my hands in case we got a little high on the numbers.
That's above 10.
6 months of basically school to take the Series 7, which is a license to become an equities trader. So if you're not licensed, you can't place trades or Fidelity gets fined.
But they offer the training.
But they offer the training. A lot of jobs like Wells Fargo, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, like they just say, here's your test date. Good luck. So you kind of have to deal with it on your own. But Fidelity like actually has a whole program where you're in class most of the day and they teach you basically anything you learn in college if you went into finance or accounting. So like all about bonds, stocks, basic math. Options were the bane of my existence for a few months, but you know what? We did it. I passed it. I passed the Series 7. And
I mean,
It's a hard
to me
test.
that sounds difficult. Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's hard. I mean, for most people, it's hard. My brother, who has a master's degree in finance, told me that any idiot can pass it, but
Well, master's
That
in
is not
finance,
true.
he might
it's
be the
not true.
favorite.
It's
right?
really hard. It is. It's not an easy test. It doesn't have a super high pass rate, but it was the first time I have like studied for anything in my life because my employment depended on it. Like if I would have studied this hard in school, I probably would have finished with a 4-year degree in accounting or finance. But anyway, I got my license. I was, they start you out as a mutual fund trader before you go into stocks. So I was a mutual fund trader for a hot second. And then one of the owners of Safari called me and said,
Safari back in
Cedar City. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the owners called and said, I'm leaving my position at Safari. You have the hotel experience and like you just passed the Series 7, so I know that you're competent in basic finance. Like, would you want to come back to Cedar City and take my job? And I said, hell yeah.
Right on.
We did not like Denver. It was super expensive. I missed the mountains and like the outdoors. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever lived in Denver, but it's about 2 hours on a good day to get to the mountains.
Oh,
So it's just not fun.
Yeah.
I just didn't love it. I liked my coworkers a lot. There's one coworker I really miss still, but I knew that this job here back in Cedar City would be a lot more flexible, and I wouldn't make as much money as if I was still at Fidelity now, I'd probably be making way more than I'm making now. But the flexibility and the ability to be able to be at home for my kid is more important. So there's always trade-offs in anything you do in your
Work-life
career.
balance.
And that's a good point. We've talked about it kind of off and on with our guests. You know, is money the point? Work-life balance, freedom. I mean, and that's a personal journey
is.
for each
It's
of us to
different for
kind of go
everyone.
through.
Yeah.
And so, when did you recognize that? Was that something, a value you always had, or was it as you were going through that financial training and they're throwing all these income potentials at you?
Yeah.
Was that kind of overdriving at the moment? Did you have to realize, man, maybe money isn't the way? When did that
Yeah.
come?
Was it during college?
Yeah.
Have you just
when you were
always
having
known?
fun?
No, when I was having fun in college, no. I think when you're in your early 20s, you think that phase is going to last forever.
Yeah.
So I really did. I thought I could get out and just get money for a few years and work up. But I feel like I wasted too much time. So I was in my late 20s by then, and I was probably in training. And so since it was during COVID, we worked remotely. We worked from home, which I hated. I am not a work from homer. I hated it. But my office, so the Denver office, the Salt Lake office, and the Dallas office all worked together, like through Zoom. All of our classes were on Zoom. And of course, being Salt Lake, there was a few women that had kids that were training, and they had to go back and forth to like take care of their kids. And I was like, that just seems miserable, because you're doing customer service and you're typically like arguing with some really angry old person who doesn't know how to place
Careful.
a trade.
I'm not that angry.
He's like, and they're just so mad, and you know that their kids in the other room screaming, and like you can't stop the
Right.
call to like
Right.
take care of them. And I was like, I don't want to live like this, and it just was so expensive to live, and I knew there was no way I could afford to quit work if I had a kid in Denver, but I wasn't able to afford daycare. Like, there's so many trade-offs. So yeah, I definitely thought I decided while I was in training, if there was any way to go back to Utah, I wanted to go back. It's just too expensive to have children, which was kind of our goal at that point. So yeah.
And so this job offer, that's the one you're still in?
I am still in the
right.
same position. I really like it. I have my busy season is from September to about January, because that's budget season. And there's 40 hotels, so you have to make budgets it's a whole process too, because first you have to like work with the revenue managers and each GM and decide what are our revenue goals for every single month of the next year. And then expenses are based off of how much revenue they're making each month. And then 2 of our hotels have almost equal partners, and they're a lot more of like your typical investment group where they want to see growth, and it's horrible. Like you spend about a month fighting with them to try to come to an agreement, but most of their investors they're very chill. They're local people that just invested in these hotels and they make a return every month and they're happy. So it's a very chill job, but it's just very time consuming just for those months. But for the rest of the year, it's just month-end closings, it's quarterly bonuses, but I'm here for any Excel issue that comes up or Dropbox issue or internet issue.
I'm starting a list.
Yeah, serious. So this is something from a layman's perspective. I hear the job title financial analyst, and I think, okay, bachelor's of finance, bare minimum. I think master's of finance, probably. You've got your bachelor's in communications.
Yeah.
What would you tell a student who, I don't know, maybe they wanted to be a meteorologist and they can't pass math, or they wanted to do something? What would you say to somebody whose first career goal is proving to be unachievable for them, and they're still in school?
They're still in school. Gosh. I don't know. I just feel like you'll always find something else. Like sometimes not everyone is meant to do everything that they want to do. But I also feel like if you have other hobbies, I'm not of the type that thinks that you need to work in what you love, because sometimes that'll make you hate what you love. Yeah. So I would definitely say, like, find something that fits into your lifestyle. Do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? Do you want to make a lot of money? Do you want to like have time to go travel? I don't know. You can just find something else.
That's kind of a theme we've talked about this year. I mean, you changed majors, you've changed career paths, and it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and oftentimes, you know, one of the things we talk about is some kids go to college and their parents have told them what they should be. Yeah. Yours was the opposite. You know, but you have this idea in your head, oftentimes of careers, of a life that you've never experienced, don't really know it exists other than maybe watching it on YouTube or TV. And then you start investing this time, money, whatever it is, into the completion of this thing. Woo. And then you kind of start to find out, man, maybe it isn't what I like, what I love. But you're too afraid now to step back and say, man, I can't tell mom and dad I'm not going to do this, or this has been my goal since I was a guy. I have to complete it, or I just don't know how to make a change. I don't have the courage to make a change. Well, and so what's that process like? What was it like for you to go through that? I mean,
the change process.
The change process. Yeah. I mean, I hate change. Like, you can ask my husband. I hated Denver. The moment we got there, I was like, I want to go back to my old job. Like, and my dad's so funny. Like, when I quit my job at the hotel as a manager, he's like, that's what all the corporate people do. They think that they have this cushy job in the corporate office, and then they think that they need more adventure. They go into management and they realize they're not cut out for it. And he was exactly right. And I've had other GMs that we've lost since then, even in Denver, that did the same thing. They were bored in their corporate office job, so they went and became a GM, and they were like, wow, this sucks. I'm going back to the corporate office. But it's hard, but at the same time, like, every hard thing is also a learning experience. I learned a lot, you know. I grew a lot. I learned that I can do hard intellectual things.
Like the
I can study
7?
the Series 7. I learned how to study. I came back. I got my Master's of Business Administration, and I don't think I would have got my MBA if I didn't do the Series 7. I didn't know how to study until I was in my mid-20s studying for the Series 7. I had no idea. So that taught me to buckle down and just study, learn how to take tests more confidently. So
that's great. I think you mentioned that what keeps coming back to me is when you were on Zoom calls with Fidelity, and you'd see these working mothers who had kids in the background, and you kind of had to step back and thought, what do I really want?
Yeah.
And that's something we've talked to a lot of folks we've had on the podcast this year. We've said, like, you know, what was it that guided you? And all of these people go through this self-exploration of figuring out what is important to them.
Yeah.
Well, and the point you brought up, don't do something you love, because then maybe you may not love it anymore. Yeah. And others the exact opposite. I only want to do something I love, because then it isn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's an interesting
point. Every personality is different.
Exactly. And that's okay. You know, we've talked a lot. They're all, AI is going to tell you what to do. In my day, there was stone tablets and books that would tell you what to do.
Cuneiform.
But everybody, I mean, libraries became full of books that people wrote to make money, telling other people how to live their lives.
Yeah, yeah.
And at some point, you get to decide for yourself. Some people can do that earlier, some people much later, some people are old and still don't know what they want to be when they grow up, and I'm all right. But what about that process? You're 17 years in college.
Close enough.
I'm not good at math either. And but would you have traded that time? I mean, did that play a point in getting you to the maturity level where you could make a career shift and know yourself well enough that you could do it?
Like
if you would have graduated after 4 years and went right in that career track.
That's a good point.
I mean,
Would you have traded the ultimate slacker experience
right? The fun.
for a confident career path?
Oh gosh, I think I can afford the extra student loan payments right now, so I would say it probably was worth the 7 years. If I was like buried in them, I would definitely say absolutely not. I should have just like done the 4-year track and like made enough money to pay them off. But like it's very personal as an individual, and so for me, fortunately, like the student loan payments aren't overwhelming me, so it was worth it, I think. Because I did have fun. Like, I didn't even get that internship. I think networking is the most important. Jace was the one, this was back in 2015. He went into an accounting class that my friend that I worked with at the controller's office was in, and he was the one that said, we have an internship open at Safari, and she's the one that came and told me. Like, that's the only reason I even knew about it. So I think that all that time spent on campus and like making friends, getting to know my professors, like networking is by far the most important part of college. I really think like as long as you're not going on into like Deloitte or any of the big 4 accounting firms that like will look at your GPA, or I don't know if engineering and math is similar where they look at your GPA, probably focus on that. But I think besides that, networking is the most important.
And to take that one step further, I mean, networking to me is the most important thing in life. I mean, that will take you down career paths and journeys and life paths and journeys that you'll never experience otherwise.
You probably wouldn't have even gotten an interview for your job right now with a communications degree had you not networked. Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, as the Career Center, we try to put on a lot of events. We bring employers on campus. We do career fairs, but we also do networking nights, meet the employers. And I'd say take advantage of all of that stuff because it's really meeting people, getting on that first name basis, getting on their list, waiting till 6 months before graduation. He's like, oh crap, I need a job. It's not super effective, but networking during that time while you're in school, taking advantages of the programs and offerings, and even just getting out and meeting people. That more and more is becoming such a lost skill among people. I hear it from employers all the time. People just don't even know how to talk, and at some point you got to get past AI and the computer and talk to a human being.
Yeah.
And, so networking is that place where you just learn that soft skill of being able to talk to people and getting along in different situations and learning and finding out about things that you don't know, understand, or maybe even believe in. But it's all there. Yeah. And so I know that's probably one of the most unsold skills that you can develop in college just naturally.
Well, and piggybacking on that, it's a skill like we talk about overcoming the hurdles of, awkward socialness or whatever it is, getting out of your shell. But every single alum that I've spoken to that comes to a career fair, comes to a podcast, comes and does a workshop for us, they are eager to meet students and to help students. We had a program recently that the Career Center helped do and the Alumni Center, and alumni would get on and just be available for students. And alumni wanted to give internships, like you got 2 fellow T-Bird students. They wanted to give job offers. They wanted to just give them an hour's worth of time and talk to them. And they're eager to do it. So the student is really in a good place. But after college, I mean, you're not going to have so many of those opportunities.
My brother was doing his Master's of Finance program at the University of Utah during COVID. So it was hard because a lot of master's degrees, like the whole point is to network.
Right.
And so there was no networking events those years he was there, and so he felt like that was definitely a disadvantage for him. The job he's at now is good, but he got it because his roommate worked there. So yeah, like don't ever like it's hard if you don't get out there and talk to people, make connections. So
yeah, and that's my most recent position I applied for, and this is a few years ago. But I referenced a professor I have met here at SU Youth, and we just keep in touch. I'd stop by his office, he'll come by mine, we see each other or whatever, and just having those connections that you make in college can benefit you the rest of your life, you know. And it gives you the opportunity to help other people too. You're not just on the receiving end, but you're giving back.
Yep.
So, from your time in college, all the fun days.
All
And then
20 years.
contrasting that to job and career.
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest misconception you had coming into college?
I don't know because my dad's a professor, like I said, but I was born while he was still an undergrad, and I was kind of raised on college campuses.
Yeah.
My dad went to Indiana University for his PhD for 7 years, so I was always on campus with him while he was.
He had a PhD in 7 years.
I know, isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
I know it's.
Some people get a lot done in 7
I
years.
know, and then his first job was a professor at Florida State, and so we'd go down to FSU, the Seminoles, and now he's here. So I have always been raised around colleges, so I kind of knew what to expect. He definitely it was definitely expected that me and all my siblings would go to college. So
you had that advantage.
I had that advantage for sure because I know I was surprised a lot of people do not. Like they have no idea what to expect when they go to college.
All right. So moving into the career part of it, though, now, what maybe has been your biggest surprise or maybe your biggest life lesson?
My biggest life lesson, I always tell students that I talk to every semester in the business school that is you can always pivot. You always can. Like, I mean, I have a friend right now she's been working in real estate for years and she wants to get out and she feels like she's too old, but you really aren't. Like, you can always pivot. So never be afraid to. You always have to start at the bottom, though. Like, I think that's one thing, especially you get students that think because they went to college and they never did the customer service, crappy front desk jobs, like they immediately can go into management. But most industries, like I'm basing this off of hotels and like restaurants and resorts, but hospitality, they're going to see your degree and that helps a ton. But you're still going to be working front desk. So you might as well like get the crappy front desk intro level stuff during college. And
I had a student worker who was a hospitality HRHM major. And I said, she's graduating. I'm so excited for her. Great. What are you doing next? And she's like, I interviewed and I got a job working at a front desk. And I'm just like, congratulations. But like, you could have done that during college.
Yeah.
You know, you could have.
And it's hard, I think. But then again, I feel bad because I think, like we said earlier, some students don't know what to expect going to college.
You're right. Yeah.
They don't I don't think that they understand what to expect. So they go to college and they think their whole job during college is school. And that there's no time.
And maybe traditionally 20 years ago it was, right?
Maybe it was. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, when did you go to school?
A lot longer than 20 years ago.
But I would say like just get if you know what you want to do after graduation, just like know what the entry level is, and if you're able to go in and just do the entry level crap jobs, just get it done while you're also in the trenches of school. So when you're finished, you're already steps ahead.
Maybe we can call that, and it seems like this is something you've probably got, is you're already building your resume while you're in school.
Yes.
You're building your resume one way or another.
Yeah.
You refer to them as crap jobs, and yet in the career journey, they're vital.
When I say crap, I mean it's crappy to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not crap jobs. Everyone needs like custom, but it's just they're crap jobs because you go into work and you get yelled at by people and you're like,
to her boss that's listening.
Yeah. Yeah, my boss is listening. No, I do feel bad because they really aren't.
She means crap in the most positive.
There's stepping stone
They're
jobs.
stepping stone jobs. You get abused by the general public. That's what I mean by crap.
But that's a microcosm of just life in general.
It is.
I mean, everything is a journey in life.
Yeah.
You know, careers, it's first job, better job, best.
Some journeys
That-
are more enjoyable than others.
You know, and that first job may be at a different level, but it's never, you don't start usually at the terminal place where
Yeah.
you're going to
You
end
gotta
up. You're
start at
still
the
going
bottom.
to grow and develop.
Yeah.
And that's just part of growth as a human being
Exactly.
in general. You're always going to want to try and find a way to grow and progress and better yourself. And so if you take advantage of whatever situation you're in, get the most out of it that you can, learn everything that you can, do the best at it that you can, it opens up more and more and more opportunities for you down the road.
Exactly.
Let's talk about major changes. We mentioned career changes, career pivots, and you had a couple major changes maybe. What are your
I just, I knew a few accounting students while I was in the accounting program that did that. They went to the nursing program. They saw a couple dead bodies, and they were like, I'm not doing this anymore. There was some elementary ed, which
generally
is
a
even
turn off.
further along because I knew one girl that was in a bunch of my accounting classes who was elementary ed, and she had made it to the block, which is like pretty far. I think that was junior or senior year, and she had to like teach in a couple classes and said, "There's no way I'm doing this. I'm switching to accounting." So, and it's just life. Like, I don't think it's anything to like take too serious, I guess. Like, I hope that's not horrible advice, but I don't think it is. Like, you just have to pivot in life. Like, you just have to be willing to move your goals, change things up if you're not happy or if you know that this is going to be a mistake. So, and I think they were fine. Like, all the people I knew that were in the accounting program who moved from either nursing or elementary ed, like, they were happier. They knew that they'd be going to a Big Four and they'd be working 80 hours a week, but they were like, that's so much better than teaching kindergartners. So
for some people.
Some people, yeah.
So while you could make a career pivot later on, anytime like your friend in real estate, probably easier to make the change in school.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
And one of the ways to do that is to take advantage of that time while you're in school and, like I said, network, go to career events, talk to employers, talk to people in that profession, join, clubs, groups, networks online for professionals working in that career. Ask some questions, read about what they do, try to get that real life experience before, you're way down the road.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I joined an autopsy club once, and I quit when they said tonight's open mic night.
That's bad. I was about to go, was it like state sponsored or you guys just hitting up the cemetery with shovels or what? Okay, open mic night. Let's get back on track. That really derailed everything.
All right.
Well, let's kind of sum everything up. So you've had not your traditional 4-year experience.
But are we learning maybe that is traditional?
I'm starting to think.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to think. I think we grew up seeing these movies on college campuses.
Yeah.
And TV shows, and you hear stories. Oh, you go to school; it's 4 years. You're like, okay, well, that's what I'm planning on.
And then
Did
you go to
anybody
work for
finish
a
in 4
company
years?
for 50 years,
Yeah.
and you get your gold watch, and you're done.
And your coffee mug, and then you go to Florida, Boca Raton.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not traditional. Maybe that is the new norm.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about to each individual is their path.
Yep.
So, I mean, is there a traditional?
Yeah.
When we're talking about human beings, I mean, it's you making your life, career journey, and it is yours.
Yeah.
And so taking ownership of it, exploring it, and then being comfortable in what you do and being comfortable with change.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe that's the key.
I think so.
I think we can say our Markell is comfortable with change.
Good.
We'll see.
Well.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, I am. I decided to go back to school for anthropology currently because I love my job and I have no desire to leave it for a long time. It's great to raise kids with, but when our kids are raised, I love archaeology. I would love to work in either a museum or even just teach adjunct at a Utah State Extension in some small town in eastern Utah.
Sounds
So
nice.
I'm like just prepping, It's just expect the unexpected and just be able to
And be open to
to
the
changes.
journey.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's cool.
All right.
We always intend on talking about career stuff, but it always like devolves or evolves
Yes.
into life philosophy.
It does.
This is an existentialist podcast.
Right. And Sasquatch fact or fiction.
He's fact
Awesome.
for sure.
All right.
Anyway.
Markell, it has been awesome to have you with us today. Thank you
you.
so much for coming.
Any
And a
final
reminder,
words?
Yes. Final words. Parting shots.
No, you guys finished. You guys finished it with Bigfoot, and I look like a moron on here, but it's fine. No parting words after that.
All right.
Well, it's been good.
Yeah. Nice seeing you.
Thank you very much for joining us
Thank
on
you.
Career Cafe, Markell. It's been a
Thanks.
pleasure.
And everyone else, come into our next podcast and see what we can come up with next.
Is there a single Sasquatch or are they multiple?
There's multiple.
It's like a species.
Sasquatch.
You're
Sam Squanch.
Oh man, I used to think he was an actual physical being, but I have read too much stuff that he's interdimensional. And at first I wrote it off.
Interdimensional.
Yes,
Yeah.
at first I wrote it off, but if you read like Navajo mythology and you start reading stories from like the Navajo reservation, he's out there. He's
As an interdimensional being.
he is an interdimensional being. That's what I've read this.
I've
read this. I
On-
sound like an
online?
authority, not just online, but like in books and stuff. It's
And
Okay.
books and stuff.
books and
All right.
I'm not really a
Hey, I'm-
YouTube dude. But
Amen.
yeah,
It's
you
been
can
a
cut that
pleasure.
out.
No, we won't. No.
That's staying.
That's
put.
gospel right there.
That's probably going to be the focus of the podcast.
That'll be the highlight. That's our lead.
follow-up question.
Right?
Is the skunk ape the same as the Sasquatch?
I don't know.
And can you smell interdimensional beings?
You can.
All right.
I don't know. Probably. There's a book. I don't know if you read it. Is that Navajo ranger that wrote a book? What is it called? I just bought it. You need to read it because you'd like it. Let me find it on Amazon. But he talks about like him and his partner were the only ones that would like
He was
investigate supernatural things on the
What
reservation.
kind of ranger? Like a park?
No, a literal.
police?
No, he was a cop.
Okay.
A cop on.
Oh,
That's what they
cop.
called him on the Navajo reservation. But yeah, they talk about Bigfoot and about how they would be bothering like these old people, but as soon as they realized it was Bigfoot and not a skinwalker, they'd be like, okay, that's fine then. As long as no one's doing bad magic on me, I'm fine. But what is it called? Let me see.
You two should do a podcast. I would tune
Really?
into that.